The information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Feliciano, before we proceed, I need to remind you and make sure you're aware that you have constitutional rights and protections that you appear to be poised to give up in order to proceed with this pleading. Now, the first one of these rights includes the right to remain silent. That means that you do not have to make any kind of statement. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that include a confession or admission to wrongdoing. Do you understand you have the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the right to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney and the state's attorneys would select 6 people from a jury pool of random people to hear the evidence, watch and listen to testimony and materials, and decide whether they believe that you are guilty or not guilty. That's the right to a jury trial. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the right to confront or face your accusers, the witnesses. That means that you and your attorney have the right to ask questions, to cross-examine, to challenge any witness who would testify if you went to trial. You understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's also a right that's called the right to appeal. That is a right that you could exercise on your own, or your attorney could exercise it, or the two of you together. A right that you could demand that a higher court review the official record in this proceeding, the evidence, testimony, materials, and decide whatever challenges you wanted to make. That's essentially called the right to appeal. Now that one you have to use the particular and proper paperwork, the documents, and the time limits you have to observe. But that's called the right to appeal. Do you understand there is such a right that you have?
Yes, Your Honor.
And finally, there's a right that you have, and also separately the state has. It's called the right to a public hearing in a public courtroom. Right now, because of the COVID pandemic, we're not holding those hearings in the open public courtroom. We're holding them by what's called video conference, but that has to be done with your approval, your agreement or acknowledgement. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
These rights, by the way, this proceeding is being recorded by my certified court reporter, Ms. Kayleen Rivera. Those rights that we have just discussed, in order to proceed with a plea, you are giving those rights up. Did you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, we're going to review and discuss some papers, some documents that are going to be made part of the record. Those documents, it's my understanding that you and Mr. Barrera have reviewed them. You've read them carefully, or reviewed them and he's read them, either way, but you are fully aware of the documents and their contents, and both of you have approved these documents. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now I'm going to start off showing you some of these documents, and we're going to discuss them. At least I think we are.
Go to share screen, Judge.
Share screen. Hello, share screen. All right. Well.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, I'm pressing on share screen, but I'm not doing a good job of it, apparently. Share. Okay, let's try that one.
There you go.
Okay.
And now I'll go to the share screen to.
No, it's already showing. Hold on, Judge.
All right. These documents that I'm going to show you, Mr. Feliciano, they're almost every one of them is going to start off with what I call identifying information. And it'll be repeated on all the documents except one. At the top, this document says cause number 616628, the state of Texas versus Jaime J. Feliciano. And then it says in County Court at Law Number 5, Bexar County, Texas. After that identifying information, which will be repeated on the different documents, you have the title of the document. This one says State's Consent to Video Conference. I mentioned to you a while ago that you and the state individually have a right to demand the open court hearing. This one is the document that Mr. Andrew Harris Edelman has signed agreeing that we should do this hearing in the video conference. Did you see and understand this?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
This second document, it starts off with, again, the identifying information. It repeats it. This one is titled, and by the way, the documents, the title is in bold print, all capital. This one is Discovery Acknowledgement. There is a law called Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure that demands and requires that the state's attorneys, the prosecutors, share and acknowledge all the different evidence and materials, receipts, videos, whatever they are, with you and your attorneys so that you can make a fully informed and intelligent decision. This document is signed by your attorney and the state's attorney. There's the signatures. I will be approving it. It says, yes, this law has been obeyed. Did you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this next document, that's yours. That's where you consent to video conference. Did you see and understand that? And you, of course, that is your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, the next document, again, if you look at the top, has the same identifying information. This one is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. This starts off with 3 individual sentences, and then it's divided into 15 parts or divisions that are numbered, starting with number 1. But just to start up in the 3 sentences at the top, the second one in particular, it says you understand you were originally charged with DWI with blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. We commonly refer to that as being charged with extreme intoxication. That's 0.015 or higher. The third sentence, you say you're gonna, it says, what does it say there? Read it for me.
As
In
in this cause, I hereby enter a plea of nolo
Contendere.
contendere to the following legislations: obstruction, passageway or roadway, waterway.
All right. Is that true? You're gonna enter a plea of nolo contendere to that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, I pointed out that the rest of this is divided into 15 parts. Mr. Barrera, did you and Mr. Feliciano review this document carefully?
Yes, Judge, we reviewed each and every single bullet point.
All right. Mr. Feliciano, obviously number 1 on there talks about the range of punishment. What is the range of punishment? How do we know that that's the one that applies to you?
There's which one applies to me?
Yeah.
There's a check by it, sir.
All right. Very good. And it says Class B, the fine from $0 to $2,000 and jail from 0 days to 180 days. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All of these paragraphs are important. Mr. Barrera, your attorney, says that you all looked at every single one of these. Where were you born, Mr. Feliciano?
In Florida, sir. United States.
All right. I will make note in the file, it'll be part of the record, that you are a U.S. citizen. In addition, there's one other thing that I want to make very, very clear. The deal that you made with the state, the agreement, the plea bargain, I'm not bound by it. I will tell you that as the judge, I have the authority and the obligation. I am required to either say yes or no to this deal. In addition, I can give you any fine or any punishment within the proper range that we just talked about, Class B, even if it's heavier than what you agreed to. However, if I reject your plea bargain, or if I give you a punishment that's greater than what you agreed to in any form, then you could start all over again and nothing that you've said or anything that you've signed would be used against you. Is that clear to you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And you did see this document, you reviewed it with your attorney, and you have signed it. That's your signature there?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. That'll be part of the record. Now, this document I'm showing you now, again, the identifying information. This one is titled Trial Court's Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. There are a vertical stack of little boxes, and next to each one is a different type or effect on the right of appeal. The fifth box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll put that at the top. It says that this is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you're giving up the right of appeal. All right. Now, the next document. Oh,
Stop share.
okay, go back to,
Go to your emails,
right,
locate the plea agreement
and that's which one, Patty? Ah,
for the one you were just on, but it's the one above it. Feliciano,
Yes.
okay. Okay. It'd be great if I knew what I was doing, huh? Okay, I've got 4 boxes in front of me, Patty. Which one's the one I'm looking for?
the plea agreement, Judge.
I know, but I can't read it from here.
Okay, I'll be there. I'm on my way.
Okay. Okay.
Did you mute yourself?
Not yet.
Okay, X out. X.
There we are.
Okay.
Sit there. Okay.
So now go back to the Zoom. This one. No, share. No, wait. Share screen.
Oh, the air conditioner's not working, we get it on.
Share.
All right. Thank you, Ben. What would I do without my coordinator, huh? All right. The paper I'm showing you now is called Plea Agreement. That's the deal you made.
Yes, Your Honor.
This starts off with the identifying information. The only thing is it doesn't mention County Court 5, but that's because we're here. The first 2 boxes officially will be marked. The first one, guess what that talks about? The right to remain silent. So we've done that, we've covered it, and that's what it tells you. Number 2, the second box says defendant is a U.S. citizen. As I mentioned, you testified you were born in Florida. It is official on on this paperwork that you are a U.S. citizen. There's an important reason for that, because there's a Supreme Court case says that if you were not born in the U.S. or you were not a U.S. citizen, then there's a bunch of questions and stuff that we have to prove up on the record. This second section, defendants' acknowledgements, there's 5 boxes stacked up vertically. Each one talks about different rights and protections that you have been informed of. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then at this point, remember you were originally charged with DWI with blood alcohol content 0.15 or higher. At this point, your attorney has made an agreement with the state, and the state has a motion.
Yes, Your Honor. The state moves to amend the information to count 2, and the state further moves to waive and abandon count 1 and proceed on count 2.
Defense, any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Since there's no objection, the court will have marked on here, as you see right there, that the motion is granted. Mr. Feliciano, that means that officially, technically and officially now, and practically speaking, you're no longer charged with extreme intoxication. You're now charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. To that charge, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
All right. The documents that you have submitted to me, there's a technical distinction, but it also has some practical effect. This one
Oh, so
says that you are
nolo-
pleading nolo contendere.
No contendere, yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
Your Honor.
that, you're certain that's what you want to plead, right? Sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, for the record also, I remind you that a plea of nolo contendere is taken as a guilty plea by this court. And based on that, I could enter a finding of guilt and convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I am ordering you to appear within 7 days in the offices of County Court at Law Number 5. The purpose being that you are to have affixed to the proper documents that are required by law, your thumbprint, okay? So you have 7 days to be there. It's in the hallway behind the main courtroom for County Court 5. The offices are easy to find. You need to go within 7 days and have your thumbprint put on there. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor. Would I have to go to Texas?
Sir,
Would I have to go to Texas for that?
are you not here in Texas at this point?
No, sir. I live in the state of Florida.
Okay. Let's talk about that shortly. The court will honor your agreement, and the punishment is that you are sentenced to 1 day in Bexar County Jail. There is 0 fine and 0 court costs. You are given credit for time served. Time and money run concurrently. The court finds that you have satisfied the judgment and you no longer owe anything to the state of Texas or to this court, with the exception of compliance with having your thumbprint placed on these documents that's so required. That we will have to probably arrange by providing to you copies of the documents. You'll have to go to some official like a sheriff or a police officer. We'll have to check that out, a police department, to have your thumbprint properly put on the documents and have those documents returned to this court. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Patricia, I guess we'll have to make special arrangements for that. We might can arrange that by email. I'm not certain that's
I could talk to Mr. Barrera afterwards, Judge.
all right. Let's get that done though.
Judge,
Any-
I've ran into this issue in other courts. I mean, it really just depends on how you want to handle it, but I've had judges take judicial notice of the prints that were taken at booking. We could use that. That's an option.
We could also have a commercial service perform that operation, I think.
Well, I order that it be done however it needs to be done. Taking judicial notice might be appropriate. Oddly enough, today, we had a gentleman appear whose twin brother has been using his ID. He's sitting in jail at this point with the gentleman's full ID that was actually came into court to let us know that it is not he who is charged, but his brother. So there may be a little bit of a glitch here somehow that we need to be aware of, or to be cognizant that sometimes what appears to be is not necessarily what it is. So we'll see how it works out. All right. Any further question, Mr. Feliciano?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Barrera?
Yes, Judge, just one thing on the documents. It's listed as Jaime J. Feliciano. It's actually Jaime Feliciano Jr. The J should be at the end.
Okay. Then the court will order that the documents be appropriately amended to reflect the correct full name of Jaime Feliciano Jr., as opposed to the current documents who show Jaime J. Feliciano. So make that correction, Patty, through Ms. Flores, or however we need to do.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Barrera. Mr. Edelman, any other questions?
Nothing from the state, sir.
Very good. Then this concludes this particular proceeding.